The soul throws its light upward and outward, and the idea, nebulous and faint, emerges into the consciousness of the man. It stands revealed, much as an object stands revealed when the bright beam of a powerful searchlight is thrown upon it. The mind, endeavoring to remain in constant steady conscious contact with the soul, seeing into the higher world through the medium of the soul's wide-open eye, registers the idea with increasing clarity. The idea, revealed, becomes then an ideal to the attentive mind and eventually something to be desired and materialized. The thought form-making faculty of the mind then comes into play. The mind stuff becomes actuated by the energy of the idea, vitalized by the recognition of the soul, and the idea then takes its first real step towards embodiment. An ideal is only an embodied idea. These are the first steps towards materialization. Embodiment becomes possible. Thus illusion is produced. The distortion now sets in. This is brought about by various causes. These might be enumerated as follows. 1. The ray type of the ego colors the man's interpretation of the idea. It colors the emerging thought form. Symbolically speaking, the pure light is changed into colored light. The idea is then clothed with color, and thereby the first veil descends. 2. The point in evolution which the man has reached has also its effect, plus the quality of the integration existing between the three aspects of the personality, and the alignment established between soul, mind, brain. This, being necessarily imperfect, produces indefiniteness of outline, and consequently of the final form. Therefore we have a. Imperfect integration of the personality. B. Indefiniteness of the proposed thought form. C. The wrong material consequently attracted for the building of the thought form. D. A shifting focus of attention, owing to the dimness of the seen ideal. E. The rapport of the mind, with the sensed idea, is not stable. 3. The quality of the development of the mental body of the disciple produces the next veiling of the idea, as it is called. The idea has become changed through the ray coloring of the soul, and now a still more distorting change is brought about by the ray type of the mental body itself, which may be, and usually is, different to that of the soul ray. These are the second steps towards materialization. The form of the embodiment is qualified. Thus illusion is produced. This illusion demonstrates in 7 ways usually. 1. Through wrong perception of an idea. The disciple cannot distinguish between an idea and an ideal, between an idea and a thought form, or between an intuitive and a mental concept. This is one of the ways of producing illusion found most commonly among aspirants. The mental atmosphere in which we all dwell is one of illusion. It is also an atmosphere, or area, of conscious contact wherein thought forms of all kinds are to be found. Some of them are placed there by the hierarchy for man's finding. Some of them are men's thought forms, built around ideas. Some of them are very ancient ideals and have been discarded, but still persist as thought forms. Some of them are entirely new, and therefore are not yet potent, but most attractive. All of them have been created by man at some stage or another of his individual and racial development. Many of them are the shells of long exploded concepts. Still others are embryonic. Some of them are static and stable. Many are in process of descent from intuitional levels. A few are still illumined by the clear light of the soul, and are ready for embodiment. A large number of other thought forms are in process of disintegration. Some of these forms or embodied ideas are of a destructive nature, owing to the type of matter of which they are formed. Others are constructive. All of them are colored by some ray energy. A large number of these forms are necessarily built through the activity of the world of personality. Others are in process of construction through the agency of the soul, as well as through the joint activity of both these manifestations. Right perception is therefore essential for each mind, functioning correctly. Aspirants must learn to distinguish between a. An ideal and an ideal. B. Between that which is embodied, that which is in process of being embodied, and that which is awaiting disintegration. C. Between that which is constructive, and that which is destructive. D. Between the old and the new forms and ideas. E. Between the ray ideas, and forms as they color the higher presentations. F. Between ideas and thought forms, and between those which are purposely created by the hierarchy and those which are created by humanity. G. Between racial thought forms and group ideas. I could list many more differentiations, but the above will suffice to show the need for right perceptions, and to indicate the roots of the prevalence of the world illusion, brought about by wrong perception. The cause is an untrained, unillumined mind. The cure is training in the technique of Raja Yoga. This results in the ability to hold the mind steady in the light, to perceive correctly, to achieve a right outlook, and to attain the right mental attitude. It was these right attitudes with which the Buddha was dealing when he outlined the Noble Eightfold Path. It involves the reaching of the right mental altitude. Yes, I said altitude, my brothers, and not attitude. 2. Through wrong interpretation. The idea, a vital entity or a germ of living potency, is seen through the medium of a partial view, distorted through the inadequacy of the mental equipment, and frequently stepped down into futility. The mechanism for right understanding is lacking, and though the man may be giving his highest and his best, and though he may be able in some measure to hold his mind steady in the light, yet what he is offering to the idea is but a poor thing at the best. This leads to illusion through misinterpretation. The cause is an overestimation of one's mental powers. The sin, par excellence, of the mental type is pride, and that colors all activities in the early stages. The cure is the development of a cautious spirit. 3. Through wrong appropriation of ideas. Misappropriation of an idea is based upon the drama-making faculty, and tendency of the personality to the self-assertion of the little self. These lead a man to appropriate an idea as his own, to credit himself with its formulation, and to give therefore undue importance to it, because he regards it as his. He proceeds to build his life around his idea, and to make his aims and his objectives of major importance, expecting others to recognize his proprietorship of the idea. He forgets that no one idea belongs to anyone but, coming as ideas do, from the plane of the intuition, they are a universal gift, and possession, and the property of no one mind. His life, as a personality also, becomes subordinated to his ideal of an idea, and his ideal of an idea. The idea becomes the dramatic agent of his self-imposed life purpose, driving him from one extreme to another. This leads to illusion through misappropriation. The cause is overestimation of personality, and undue impressive personality reactions upon the sensed idea, and upon all who attempt to contact the same idea. The cure is a steady attempt to decentralize the life from the personality, and to center it in the soul. One point I would like to make clear at this point. Ideas very seldom come into the world consciousness, and into the human mind direct from the intuitional levels. The stage of human development today does not yet permit this. They can come from the intuitional levels only when there is a very highly developed soul contact, a potent mind control, a trained intelligence, a purified emotional body, and a good glandular equipment, as the result of the above requirements. Ponder upon this thought. Most ideas, when of a very high order, are stepped down into the consciousness of the disciple by his master and are imparted to him through mental telepathy, and as a result of his sensitivity to the psychic gift waves, as the Tibetan teaching calls them. Ideas are also sensed in the interplay between disciples. Frequently, when disciples meet together and thus stimulate each other's minds and centralize each other's focused attention, they can unitedly make a contact with the world of ideas which would otherwise be impossible, and bring through the newer concepts into being. Again, certain great ideas are to be found existing as currents of energy upon the mental plane, and can there be contacted and forced into embodiment through the trained attention of disciples. These currents of mental energy, colored by a basic idea, are placed there by the hierarchy. When thus contacted and discovered, the neophyte is apt to regard his achievement in a personal way and attribute the idea to his own wisdom and power. You will note therefore the great need for right understanding of that which is contacted as well as for right interpretation. 4. Through wrong direction of ideas. This is due to the fact that, as yet, the disciple does not see the picture as it is. His horizon is limited, his vision myopic. A fraction or a fragment of some basic idea impinges upon his consciousness and he interprets it as belonging to a range of activities with which it may have absolutely no relation at all. He therefore starts to work with the idea, distributing it in directions where it is entirely useless. He begins to clothe it in form from an utterly wrong angle, embodying it in such a way that its usefulness is negated. Thus, from the very first moment of contact, the disciple has been suffering from illusion, and as long as this is persisted in, the general illusion is strengthened. This is one of the most ordinary forms of illusion, and is one of the first ways in which the mental pride of the disciple can be broken. It is illusion through an initial misapplication, leading to a wrong use or wrong direction of the idea. Its cause is a small and non-inclusive mind. Its cure is the training of the mind to be inclusive, well-stocked and well-developed from the angle of modern intelligence. 5. Through wrong integration of an idea. Every disciple has a life plan, and some chosen field of service. If he has not such a field, he is not a disciple. It may be the home or the school or a larger field, but it is a definite place wherein he expresses that which is in him. In his meditation life and through his contact with his fellow disciples, he touches some idea of importance, perhaps, to the world. Immediately he seizes upon it and seeks to integrate it into his life purpose and life plan. It may have for him no definite use, and is not an idea with which he should be working. The overactivity of his mind is probably responsible for his so seizing upon this idea. All ideas, sensed and contacted, need not necessarily be ideas with which every disciple should work. This the disciple does not always realize. He therefore seizes upon the idea and attempts to integrate it into his plans, and tries to work with energies for which he is not temperamentally suited. He imposes an energy current upon his mental body with which he cannot cope, and disaster follows. Many good disciples demonstrate this overfertile, overactive mind, and arrive at no good constructive objectives, or life activity.